Ah, fuck it. I'ma try, but only cause it's fake money. Fail. The result is pear strawberry pineapple. At Valhor 666. Sorry. Keep trying, pensive face, you lost 50 points. I don't think this is for me. You probably have a lot of points. At Valhor 666 has 5,565 points. At Valhor 666, Valhor 666 has 0 points and is rank 1/0 on the leaderboard. Some for sure XF. You are rich.
Oh, hi. Hello. How you doing? My name is Waldo, and I'm here to feel the politics with you. Valor, you have so many points. You have 5,565 points. You can gamble them a little bit during the opening things. That's the fun, I guess. If you take all of those
Hi,
points.
Waldo.
Hi. If you take all of those points and $6 into a Starbucks, they'll give you a cup of coffee. It's pretty great. You just tell them that you're kind of a big deal, and you have over 5,000 Waldo points, and they will be impressed. Okay, this is a cryptocurrency. Right now, it's worth $0.0000. Someday, well, I'll turn it into some sort of crypto scam, I think, and then you'll have a lot of the points.
Whoa, you got a deal with Starbucks?
Yeah, exactly. If you give them Waldo points and money, they'll give you coffee. It's pretty great deal, if you ask me. Sometimes they don't even take the points away from you because they're very cool like that. They just let you keep them.
Grifting is the new American economy.
That's true. I'm gonna have to get on a grift somewhere. I'm gonna have to grift something somewhere, I suppose, if I want to keep the lights on in my house. You got to grift somebody somehow. Most of us are just grifting our employers, being like, yeah, I totally read all those emails, boss. Never responded.
Griftonomy.
And then they pay you to continue to lie to them, tell them how you totally read all the emails and you were awake during that meeting and you weren't playing Vampire Survivor while on this screen you were listening to a very dry PowerPoint. That's what all the people who have jobs now do. So everybody's grifting somebody, I suppose. But if you want to go freelance, you become a crypto grifter. You start a live stream where you give people points, and then you turn that into a crypto thing, and then you take all the money, and then as they buy the points, and then you give them nothing, and then it's a whole thing. So maybe someday, maybe when I get to 1 million subscribers, I'll pull that off. So just letting you guys know. And you guys are in on the ground floor. Shinseto, Valor, you guys are in on the ground floor for the Waldo Point crypto grift that will happen when I get to 1 million subscribers. Anyway, how are you? I'm doing good.
Main investors.
Yeah, exactly. I'll let you guys know before I pull the rug. I'll be like, okay, we're pulling the rug in 60 seconds. Sell them all now. And then you sell all them all. You get the real money. The rug gets pulled. And then the people who come in late toward my inevitable rise towards fame will be the ones left with useless points and no dollars. It'll be great. It'll be a good time. It'll be a good American time. And I say that because grift is the new American economy, and we got a lot of America to talk about today. We just finished Thanksgiving. I hope you guys had a good time. I made a turkey. I made some pie. I made a pecan pie, and I really am happy with the way it tastes, but it didn't. It came out a little runny. I don't know what I did wrong. Maybe more eggs. I don't know. Regardless, we got a lot of America to talk about today, and as the title suggests, Donald Trump keeps doing war crimes. That's not a surprise to anybody, I think, because that's what he does. He doesn't know what crimes are. He doesn't know what truth is. He doesn't know what laws are. He doesn't know what those things are. I made this wonderful chart right here. Bam. You can see it. There it is. Does it benefit Trump? Yes. Legal. No. Illegal. This has replaced all law in the country. All of it. Doesn't matter what the law used to be. Doesn't matter what it used to say. Doesn't matter what's written in the books. Doesn't matter what the Supreme Court did last year or the year before or in 1912. None of that makes a damn bit of difference, because all the law in our country has been replaced with this chart. Don't believe me? Let's talk about it. Let's look at the news. Let's look at the headlines lately, and then we'll keep pointing back to this damn chart, because it is the most important flow chart like you could ever see. That's the flow chart. That's it. That's the thing. That is reality now. I'm not happy about it, but it is the truth. Let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go here. Window capture. Kill everybody. Bombshell. Pete Hegseth. Order blasted by lawmakers as blatantly illegal. Blatantly illegal. But, again, remember the chart. Does it benefit Trump? Yes. One sec.
Did he actually say those exact words?
Let's see what he actually said. Let's look at this. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth reportedly delivered an order on the first attack on a suspected drug boat that lawmakers have blasted as excessive and blatantly illegal. Donald Trump's Pentagon chief ordered a missile attack on the boat September 2nd on Trinidad coast, but intelligence analysts and military leaders watching drone footage of the strike realized after the smoke cleared that there were 2 survivors clinging to the wreckage. And the Washington Post reported that Hegseth gave another verbal directive. The order was to kill everybody, said the source with direct knowledge of the situation. So that's what Pete Hegseth apparently allegedly said. The order was to kill everybody. The Special Operations Commander overseeing the attack ordered another strike on Hegseth's instruction, and the 2 men were blown apart in the water, which a former military lawyer said amounts to murder because it is a war crime. This is illegal. These are the illegal orders that the Dems were talking about last week. Remember last week, or maybe the week before, the Democrats put in this whole little TikTok video about how you don't have to comply with illegal orders. This is what they're talking about. The illegal orders. An order to strike the defenseless men would, in essence, be an order to show no quarter, which would be a war crime, said Tom Huntley, who advised Special Operations Forces during U.S. counterterrorism campaign, and now director of the National Security Law Program at Georgetown Law. So, not this guy isn't a YouTuber. He's not a live streamer. Todd Huntley is a special lawyer for National Security Law Program at a college. Okay, he knows what he's talking about. He's very well understood. He knows what's going on. The elite SEAL Team 6 led the attack, according to the 4 sources from direct knowledge of the matter, and the operations commander, Admiral Mitch Bradley. Didn't he retire? Didn't he quit after this? Told others on the secure conference call that the survivors were legitimate targets because they might have been able to call to other traffickers to come and get them and their cargo. The Pentagon has since struck at least 22 more boats in the Caribbean Sea and East Pacific Ocean, killing another 71 alleged drug smugglers. Later the same day, Trump released a redacted 29-second video of the September 2nd attack, which didn't show the follow-up strike, but one person who saw the live feed said people would be horrified if the entire video was made public. Joint JSOC reported the White House that the double tap or follow-on strike was intended to sink the boat and remove a possible hazard to other ships and not to kill survivors. But that's a lie, you see. They said, hey, the order was to kill everyone. And then later, when people are like, hey, that's illegal. No. We were just totally disposing of the hazards, you see. The idea that the wreckage from one small boat in the vast ocean is a hazard to marine traffic is patently absurd, and killing survivors is blatantly illegal, said Seth Moulton, a Marine Corps veteran and Trump critic who was briefed on the strikes. In other words, Mark my words, it may take some time, but Americans will be prosecuted for this, either as a war crime or outright murder. So this guy's saying it's absolutely, definitely a crime. And that doesn't surprise me. What they're doing is illegal. They haven't declared war on Venezuela. And even if they are bringing drugs in, that's not a capital offense. You don't get to murder people for allegedly smuggling cocaine into the country. And we'll get to some more. Keep thinking about that. Keep that in the back of your mind. Bringing cocaine means death, because that's what they're telling you. That's what Pete Hegseth is telling you. Bringing cocaine is death. Okay? We're going to get to some more headlines that completely counteract that here in just a few minutes. So it is a crime. It is illegal, and it is not something that ought to be done. Pete Hegseth, as usual, just defends himself. And he says, as usual, the fake news is delivering more fabricated, inflammatory, and derogatory reporting to discredit our incredible warriors fighting to protect the homeland. As we've said we're not discrediting the warriors fighting to protect the homeland. We're discrediting you, Pete. We're discrediting the president who ordered these things. That's who we're discrediting. Not the soldiers who carried it out on your fucking orders. Not the people who pressed the buttons because you told them to. We're discrediting you. And he also doesn't deny any of this stuff. So, as we've said from the beginning, in every statement, these highly effective strikes, effective at blowing up boats, sure. Killing people, murdering people, yeah, it's very effective. Are specifically intended to be lethal kinetic strikes. Okay, you stupid, ignorant, dumb liberals. We intended them to die. Why are you getting all pissy when they die? We wanted them to die, says Pete Hegseth. We intended them to die. They're intended to be lethal. What are you whining about? Why are you crying? We told you it would be. The declared intent to stop lethal drugs, destroy narco boats, and kill the narco terrorists who are poisoning the American people. They're not narco boats. They're just fishing boats. There's no such thing as a narco boat unless you there's fishing boats, and you can put narcotics on them. That's it. That's all. They intentionally buy fishing boats so that they don't get struck and kill the narco terrorists. The narco terrorists are not the people driving the boat. The people driving the boat are poor, downtrodden, possibly forced at gunpoint to do these things. They're the lowest of the low. They're the bottomest of the criminal enterprise. The people who are benefiting, making all the money, selling the drugs, they're not driving the boats. No, they get human chattel to do that for them. They force people who are homeless and poor and have no money to do that for them. You don't do that yourself if you're a drug kingpin. They're not out there driving the boats themselves. They pay tough guys to force poor people to do it for them. The people doing it aren't always doing it because they want to.
They are registered narco boats. Did you know that's required?
Oh, you're right. They did register as narco boats. So I guess that's how we know. The Biden administration preferred the kid gloves approach, which is catching them, putting them on trial, and putting them into the justice system. You know, kid gloves. You know, putting them in jail and sending them back to their country. That's the kid gloves. What real men do is murder, allowing millions of people, including dangerous cartels and unvetted Afghans. What the fuck, how the fuck did Afghans get in it? Dude, we're talking about Venezuela. What the fuck are you on about, man? Very American of him. Remember that. We're going to talk about it later. Foreshadowing. What did he say after that? Afghans, nothing to do with that. To flood our communities with drugs and violence. The Trump administration has sealed the border and gone on the offense against narco terrorists. He means murder. Offense. It is offensive, yeah.
Probably trying to connect all this to the shooting of the two guardsmen.
Absolutely they are, because they don't care what's real. They don't care about what's correct. They'll just connect everything where they want. Biden coddled terrorists. We killed them. He's not even denying this shit. He's saying it will be lethal and it will kill them. I intentionally wanted them to die. Our current operations in the Caribbean are lawful under both U.S. and international law. No, they're not, Pete. That's what all the people with brains are telling you, that they aren't lawful. You are unlawfully doing these things, Pete. And all the people with law degrees are telling you that. But it doesn't matter because, again, we've got the chart. Doesn't matter what was written in the past. It doesn't matter what the Supreme Court has said in the past. It doesn't matter what the law professor at Georgetown says. It doesn't matter what was written. It doesn't matter what was prosecuted in the past. It doesn't matter what the precedent is, legal precedent. Pete Hegseth's never heard of it. He doesn't know what that is. Donald Trump does not know what legal precedent is. He knows this flowchart. That is all he knows. That is all Pete Hegseth knows. That is all that matters to them. This flowchart is now the law of the land. Our warriors in South Carolina put their lives on the line every day to protect the homeland from narco-terrorists, and I will always have their back. It's you that we're upset with, not them, Pete. Again, you hide behind them like a little bitch, Pete Hegseth. You are doing illegal things. You are giving them illegal orders, and you hide behind them because you are a little bitch. People who say horrible things and then hide behind the First Amendment are little bitches. Republicans do it all the time. Pete Hegseth, you are a little bitch. You are getting real criticism from real lawyers. And instead of understanding that, instead of comprehending that maybe you're doing something wrong, you try and poorly judo flip it towards Afghanistan and hide behind the troops. Have some accountability. Republicans have told me their entire fucking
Just following
lives.
orders. Now where have I heard this before?
Exactly. They're going to get in trouble for just following orders. And then Pete's going to try and say, oh, I was just following Donald Trump's orders. It's why the military people keep quitting their jobs. The person who was in charge of that CENTCOM or whatever it was, what was it called? The Caribbean, the guy who was in charge of that quit his job because of this order. He knew it was illegal, and so he stopped being in charge of that. He didn't want to be a part of this illegal war anymore. He didn't want to be a part of this illegal operation. And so he told them no. And he quit. That's a pretty good sign that you're doing illegal stuff, Pete. And what you should do is learn from what you're talking about. Understand what the people are telling you. Listen to the lawyers. Instead, he goes on the offense, to attacking the press, attacking anybody who's disagreeing with him, and then hiding behind troops. And if you criticize him, you're criticizing the troops. If you criticize the actions that Donald Trump has chosen to take, you're criticizing the troops. Nonsense. Horse shit. You can criticize the things that they're doing without criticizing troops. You can. It's possible. What else we got? We've got Here we go. Look at this. The Peleus war crimes trial. After sinking the Greek steamer Peleus in the South Atlantic in 1944, the captain of the U-boat U-852 ordered his crew to attack the survivors with gunfire and grenades. This was a war crime where the people who did kill the survivors were found guilty and executed. We've got court precedents that suggests that this is a war crime. This isn't Waldo being silly. This isn't Waldo being a crazy leftist who's just calling everything a war crime. We literally have case studies, documents of people being tried for war crimes for doing the thing that Pete Hegseth is telling our people to do. Literal war crimes are happening now. Spurred on and directed by Donald Trump. Donald Trump is directing the people to do war crimes. Pete Hegseth is following those orders and doing the war crimes, telling his troops to do those war crimes. And then the troops know it. The lawyers are telling them, stop doing this. But they've done it 20 more times, 22 more times or something like that. We keep doing it because the law doesn't matter anymore. The things on this war crimes trial, the precedent set, doesn't matter. The previous court cases don't matter because they're not a part of this chart. The Pelleas war crimes trial in 1932 didn't take this chart into account. It could have. If it had, they would have come down to it. They might have come down to a different opinion. The trial might have gone differently if they had used this, because this is the law now. This is it. That's everything. And anybody who doesn't notice it is going to get squashed. They're going to get hurt. They're going to get damaged. They're going to get killed. Violence is on the way because it benefits Donald Trump. And it will be deemed illegal by him and his DOJ and all the people in his circle because it benefits him. It benefits them. And when he benefits, they all benefit too. So it doesn't matter what's written anymore. It doesn't matter what the judge says because the judges have said this is illegal. Doesn't matter. He doesn't care. They don't care. We don't live in a society of laws anymore. It's gone. It's over. It's done. We live in a society of power. I'm not happy about it, but that's the way it is. Let's see, what's the next one? What do we got? All airlines, pilots, drug dealers, and human traffickers, please consider the airspace above surrounding Venezuela to be closed in its entirety. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. He's created a no-fly zone on his own whim. That is an actual, literal declaration of war that he did not go through the Congress to get, that he did not talk to Congress about. No-fly zones are war. We are at war, in Donald Trump's mind, with Venezuela right this minute. Whether you know it or not, whether the Congress knows it or not, whether they agree or not. We don't have a functioning Congress. We do not have a functioning legislature. We don't have a functioning judicial branch. We have only one authority within America, and it is a senile old man named Donald Trump. He's got dementia. He's getting MRIs every 6 months. You know why he's getting an MRI every 6 months? Because he's got a bad old brain. It's ruined. It's destroyed. That's why he gets the cognitive tests every 6 months, so they can see how far down he's sliding. You get one cognitive test, great. You get another one every 6 months, as it seems he is, because he keeps talking about the damn things. He talked about it a couple of months ago, then he talked about it exactly 6 months before that, and he talked about it exactly 6 months before that. That's what doctors do, to chart your decline. And now he has unilaterally, authoritarianly, I guess that's a word, by his own authority, with no one else's authority, started a war with Venezuela. You're at war with Venezuela in his mind. And if Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, is following Donald Trump's orders, and we know he is, you are at war with them right now. Pete Hegseth is at war with Venezuela right this minute.
Authoritarianically?
Authoritarianically, yeah. It's a word, maybe. Look it up. You're at war with them right now. I'm at war with them right now. I am at war with them. I'm sorry, Venezuela. You don't deserve it. And it's only because Donald Trump needs to wag the dog and to get people's stop paying attention to his many crimes. Because that's a hell of a strategy, man. You committed a crime and everybody's coming after you for it. Well, commit 17 more crimes. Okay. And when anybody comes after you for any of those 17 crimes, commit 17 more crimes. And then when they come after you for that crime, commit 40 more crimes. They won't be able to keep up. No one will be able to keep up with him. He commits 17 crimes a day. So he's unstoppable. He's found the flaw within the entire judicial system. Commit so many crimes that nobody can keep up. And as usual, this is, let me see, not a good idea. And I
Have
don't.
you seen that legend of a woman reporting Donald Trump sells for the week?
Oh, depends. Did you put it in the thing? The Primrose lady? She or is it somebody else who does the L's? I know Legal Eagle did like all 200, all of his crimes, and it was over
Possibly
200.
XD.
I know Legal Eagle did that, but he's a very good YouTuber, and I can't show his stuff on screen, or else I would be stealing his stuff. But yeah, so I try not to put other people's stuff up on screen so that I don't get accused of stealing stuff or putting other things on. But like news stuff and tweets, you can put up on screen. It's okay. So yeah, I try not to watch other people's videos while on stream, but I do see them in my spare time when I'm preparing for for the stream. So yeah, Donald Trump doesn't want to stop the drug trade. He doesn't. That's a lie. He wants to profit from it any way he can. And I'm going to prove that to you right now. He wants to profit from it. Because guess what's happened? Let's go over here. Bam. Trump used his Truth Social account on Friday to announce that he intends to grant a full and complete pardon of former Honduran President Juan Orlando Hernandez, a convicted drug trafficker. Convicted drug trafficker is getting a pardon from Donald Trump. Specifically, he was sentenced last year to 45 years. 45. That's a fuckload of years, y'all. In U.S. federal prison for helping move massive quantities of cocaine. What? How? I don't get it. Man, it doesn't make any sense. Poor people bring in one boat of cocaine. They immediately get murdered. Hellfire missiles and a second missile to make sure they die. Drug trafficker, former president of their country who
Well,
orchestrated
cocaine is
it.
different. The White House needs that trade in order to function.
That's what the Venezuelans are bringing. Venezuelans aren't bringing fentanyl, man. They're not. It's not made there. That's not the thing that they do in South America. Fentanyl comes from Mexico through China. China sells people in Mexico the chemicals. They do alchemy. It requires a really complicated circle with math drawn inside it with indecipherable scribbles, and then you put your hands on the circle and it does a bright shiny light comes out and it does an alchemy, and that turns that chemical from China into fentanyl, which they sneak across with American citizens. Mexico gives it to an American citizen. It pays them money because we live in a grift economy, and that American then brings that fentanyl into a big city and then sells it for a small amount of money. That's not what's happening in Venezuela. Venezuela is where the coca leaves are grown. They grow the coca leaves out in the jungles and shit, and then they turn it into cocaine and they smuggle it across through the boats. Poor people, forced at gunpoint, try to sneak a boatload of cocaine into the country. They are hit with hellfire missiles, and they're hit again with a hellfire missile if they survived the first one. But the president of Honduras, convicted drug trafficker, millions of pounds of cocaine brought into the country, he gets a pardon. Why, Donnie? Why? It doesn't make any sense. And I'll tell you why, because he benefits from that. Donald Trump benefits from the president of Honduras. So let's do the chart. Does Donald Trump benefit from poor people bringing in one boatload? No. So it's illegal. Does Donald Trump benefit from blowing up that boat? Yes. That makes it legal. Does Donald Trump benefit from the president of Honduras getting a pardon? Yes. That makes it allowed. It makes it legal. That's it. That's all there is. It doesn't matter. There are no ethics. There are no principles to this. There are no ethics. There are no principles. There's no guiding light. There's no directive. There's no personal accountability. Let's read what the lunatic Donald Trump said this time. If Tito Asfura wins the president of Honduras because of the United States has so much confidence in him, his policies, and what he will do for the great people of Honduras, we will be very supportive. If he doesn't win, the United States will not be throwing good money after bad, because a wrong leader can only bring catastrophic results to a country, no matter which country it is. So he's affecting their election. He's swaying the voters in that country, in a foreign country, to vote for someone, or else you don't get American assistance. America won't be your friend. And he'll probably throw an imaginary tariff on you and start bombing your boats. Maybe he'll just bomb your entire place. Maybe they'll invade. Donald Trump is a loose fucking cannon who does whatever the fuck he wants. And you don't want to be on his bad side, Honduran. People of Honduras, you don't want to be on his bad side, so you better vote correctly, or else you will be harmed. You will be harmed through monetary aid being cut off, or trade barriers being introduced, or maybe even some invasion and bombing if you do not vote correctly, Mr. and Mrs. Honduras. This is extortion. This is election interference. But he's allowed to do it because there is no law in America anymore. It's gone. Let's keep reading. Tito will be a great president, and the United States will work closely with him in order to ensure the success of all its potential of Honduras. Additionally, I will be granting a full and complete pardon of former President Juan Orlando Hernandez, who has been, according to many people that I greatly respect, treated very harshly and unfairly by being found guilty of his crimes. That is harsh and unfair. You're not allowed to send rich, powerful people to jail. You're not allowed to indict rich and powerful people. You're not allowed to convict people who wear suits. Okay? You're not allowed to do that. That is wrong. That is bad, according to Donnie. This cannot be allowed to happen, especially now after Tito Asfura wins the election, when Honduras will be on its way to great political and financial success. Vote for Tito.
Pardoning people in other countries is wild.
Well, he's in American custody. He's in a U.S. federal prison for the crimes that he committed against Americans. We got him. We got the drug kingpin, and Donnie's letting him loose.
Oh, OKXD.
We'll look up his wiki here in just a minute to get all the amazing details. Vote for Tito Asfura for president, and congratulations to Juan Orlando Hernandez on your upcoming pardon. Make Honduras great again. Congratulations on your upcoming pardon. I wonder how much he paid for it. I'm willing to bet, and I know this is my tinfoil hat. Johnny wants in on that drug trade. Oh, baby, he wants in on that drug trade. There's a lot of money to be made there. There's lots of money. There's so much money going back and forth, and he's not getting any of it. He's not getting any fentanyl dollars. Why isn't Donald allowed to profit from fentanyl? If he was, guess what? Chart. If fentanyl was benefiting Donald Trump, it would be legal. If cocaine smuggling was benefiting Donald Trump, it was putting money into his pocket, it would be legal. He would allow it, and he would pardon the people involved. He has no ethics. He has no principles. He has no guidelines, no guardrails. If it's good for him, he's allowed to do it. That's it. That's all there is. Let's look up this Hernandez guy on the internet. Wait, here we go. I already had one ready. Here we go. Trump to pardon ex-Honduras leader serving drug trafficking sentence in the U.S. Hernandez was convicted in 2024, not like a million years ago, of accepting millions in bribes to protect cocaine shipments. The man helped cocaine shipments arrive in America, and now he's being pardoned. Donald Trump said he will grant a pardon to Orlando Hernandez, former president of Honduras, who's serving a 45-year prison sentence in the U.S. on drug trafficking and weapons charges. Blah, blah, blah. We already know that. In March of last year, Hernandez was convicted in the U.S. courts of accepting millions of dollars of bribes to protect U.S.-bound cocaine shipments. Like a boat. Belonging to traffickers he once publicly proclaimed to combat. Speaking during closed arguments at the trial, Assistant U.S. Attorney Jacob Gullwig said Hernandez has paved a cocaine superhighway into the United States. Oh, it's so good. These people don't have any fucking ethics. Hernandez was sentenced last June and called his conviction wrongful. He has served 2 terms as the leader of Central American nation of roughly 10 million people and was considered a top ally in the Central America, particularly by the Trump administration. Trump's announcement to pardon Hernandez comes even as the Republican leader casts himself as being tough on combating drug problems. Yeah, exactly. Trump's administration designated drug cartels as foreign terrorists. This guy was the head of a foreign terrorist organization, and now he just gets to be pardoned, and uses the claim of war on drugs to justify deadly airstrikes on vessels across the Caribbean and Pacific. These strikes have prompted the United Nations and other humanitarian organizations to condemn the operations as extrajudicial executions. Exactly. Let's see. Esferra's party forged a close partnership with Washington under Hernandez, who governed from 2014 to 2022 and was arrested shortly after leaving office. Honduras has been governed since 2021 by Xiomara Castro, who has forged close ties with Cuba and Venezuela, 2 countries mired in deep economic and human rights crises for whose governments the Trump administration sees as dictatorships and repeatedly criticized. So, Castro here said, hey, I don't want to deal with America. What are my other choices? Venezuela and Cuba. This is why you don't make enemies. This is why you try to get people on your side. When you make enemies of everyone around them. If there's only 2 sides to every fucking conflict, you'll drive people to one side or the other. You either have to be friends with America or you have to be their enemy. There's no middle room. There's no in bad, childish Republican brains. There are friends, there are enemies. That is it. There's not any middle room. There's not any people who might just leave, get left alone. You have to be one or the other. You're with us or you're against us in the stupid Republican brain. There's no being Swiss about it. Yeah. Conservatives would consider that the enemy. You're either with us or you're against us. Those are your choices. Only the Sith deal in absolutes. And Republicans are Sith. They deal in absolutes. You're with us or you're against us. So in that mindset, you have to be with us or against us. And Honduras has chosen to be, or actually not all Honduras, Castro chose to be against us. He chose not to be with us, is what he chose, not to be with us. So he works with Cuba and Venezuela, who are in his neck of the woods. They're nearby. They should be allies. Castro has leaned into the leftist stance. Oh, no. But she has kept pragmatic and even cooperative attitude in dealing with Trump administrations. So absolutely, this one word means that she must be removed, even if she's good for the people, and has received a visit from the U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. The president has even backed off his threat to end Honduras' extradition treaty and military cooperation with the U.S. under Castro. Honduras has also received its citizens deported from the U.S., acted as a bridge for deported Venezuelans, who were then picked up by Venezuela in Honduras. So Castro is doing good things, but Castro is the wrong party, you see. Castro isn't the right-wing party, which means Donald Trump must affect their election. Tell their people they will be harmed if they don't vote for the right-wing candidate in their country. He's affecting their elections with threats of violence and promises of aid. That shouldn't be allowed. The President of the United States shouldn't be threatening other countries and promising them rewards if they vote for the person that likes him the most. This is not how diplomacy is supposed to operate. This is extortion. But that is his game. That is his modus operandi. I've said it 1,000 times. Donald Trump doesn't know anything but extortion. Give him what he wants or he will hurt you. economically. Give him what he wants or he will hurt you militarily. Give him what he wants or he will hurt you politically. Give him what he wants. And what he wants often is authoritarianism. Correct. It's for him to be correct and right and popular and real. He wants his way. Hondurans go to the polls on Sunday to vote in an election that remains a toss-up, with polls showing Esfera, a former mayor in the capital, virtually tied with the former defense minister Moncada of the ruling leftist Libre Party, and the television host Salvador Nasrallah of the centrist Liberal Party. So we got three people, and it's still a toss-up. Whichever candidate wins a simple majority on Sunday will govern Honduras between 2026 and 2030. Some political analysts fear more than one candidate could claim victory. Christ almighty. The Organization of American States and Washington have raised concerns about Honduras' electoral process and said they will be monitoring the election closely. And what that means is that Donald Trump will tell you who wins. He's practicing for 2026 in America, and he will tell you who wins. He will simply tell you that the person he wanted to win will win, and they will go on their TV
Lost
channels.
an election? Easy. Just pull a Trump.
Absolutely. And if that guy that Donnie's pulling for, Asfusa, I think is the name of it. What was his name? Some foreign name. Asfura. If Asfura loses, he will pull a Trump. He will claim victory. He will go onto the TV first, and he will say he won. And you know who's going to back him up? Donald Trump. And if he cries and whines and he has his military and he sends the military, the Guatemalan military, I mean, like if this Asfusa guy uses the Honduras military to force himself into office, Donnie will back that up. He will. Any choice that Asfura makes from now on will have the Donald Trump stamp of approval. That's fucked up. Asfura could lie, and that will have the Donald Trump seal of approval. He could break into polling places, start destroying things, and that would have Donald Trump's seal of approval, you see. He could commit a bunch of war crimes. He could commit a bunch of inhuman murders, and that would have the Donald Trump seal of approval. Because what matters is getting him elected, even if they have to kill a bunch of people to do it, even if they have to harm a bunch of people to do it, if they have to take the votes away from people to do it, they will, because now he has the Donnie seal of approval. And he's pardoning a gigantic drug trafficker while murdering the poor people, the traffic drugs. If poor people traffic drugs, they need to be murdered. Okay? If a poor person takes drugs, they need to be murdered, according to Donald Trump. If a very powerful businessman who is a politician and a right-wing talker, wears a suit, brings in billions of dollars and millions of pounds of cocaine, that's just business, you see. When the Sackler family floods the market with OxyContin and highly addictive drugs, that's just business. When they kill lots and lots of people from overdoses, that's business. But when a poor person sells their OxyContin to another poor person, they need to be murdered. I've been saying that they don't have ethics, but maybe that's their fucked up broken ethic. If you're rich, you're allowed to do it. Well, I guess we already kind of have that right here. We already have the only ethic that Donald Trump has is right here. That's the only ethic he has. So, I'm telling you, Donald doesn't want to stop the drug trade. He wants to profit from it. Helping Hernandez benefits him, possibly even monetarily, possibly just politically. Their new president, that Trump is interfering with their election to benefit himself, because that new guy will be friends with him. And that's what he wants, is authoritarians to be friends with. And, of course, all of this leads back into, because they connect everything in a crazy ass way, to the big news that happened just the other day, the troops that got shot in D.C. They're blaming all of Afghanistan and all of Afghanistani people. Anybody who's ever been to Afghanistan, it's probably your fault. If your grandma knitted you an Afghan, the blanket, she's suspect, and you're suspect for owning an Afghan blanket. Afghanistan people are to be blamed. All of Somalia is to be blamed for these two people being shot. I don't know how, but that's what conservatives keep telling me. That's what the Republicans keep talking about. Well, we're going to skip this one right here. A terrible and avoidable tragedy happened in D.C. Donald Trump was warned that members of the military could be attacked. He knew this. That's why he wanted them there. Before an Afghan refugee, Ramanallah Lochinwall, yesterday shot and seriously injured two National Guard members who had been deployed by President Donald Trump to Washington, D.C., military commanders had warned that their deployment represented an easy target of opportunity for grievance-based violence. There is nothing more American than grievance-based violence. There really isn't. That is America's number one export. Grievance-based violence. That is what we do here. That is what we are. That is what we produce for the world. The troops deployed in an effort to reduce crime are untrained in law enforcement. They're not law enforcement agents. They're soldiers. There's a difference. Their days are spent cleaning up trash and walking streets in uniform. Commanders, in a memo that was included in litigation challenging the high visibility mission in D.C., argued that this could put them in danger. The Justice Department countered that the risk was merely speculative. It wasn't. There are costs to performatively deploying military members, one of which is the risk of endangering them. And it was illegal. Trump unlawfully deployed National Guard in D.C. The judges have said that he did this illegally. But refer to the chart. Does having the National Guard on the streets benefit Donald Trump? Yes. Then it's allowed. Doesn't matter what the judge says. Doesn't matter that this judge says it's unlawful. That doesn't matter anymore. This matters. This is all there is. The judges have no power. The judges have no authority any longer, because we do not live in a system of laws. Lochinwall, his exact motives are still unknown. He worked for the CIA during the Afghan War as a child soldier. We'll get to that here in a minute. He was now in custody and apparently refusing to speak. Trump offered a predictable response to the shooting, pausing immigration for anyone from Afghanistan. The fuck does that, the innocent people have to do with that? A move that conveniently ignored how Lochinwall had gotten to the United States. He came as part of Operation Allies, admitted for his assistance to the U.S. troops, and was reportedly granted asylum status after vetting by the Trump administration earlier this year. If you have seen right-wing media, they're saying that he's an illegal immigrant who somehow snuck onto a plane from Afghanistan to America. Joe Biden is such a wimp and wiener and so soft on the borders that he just allows Afghanistan people to board planes and fly them over here and just live. No, horseshit, nonsense. He was not illegal. He was here because he helped American troops in the Afghanistan war that we didn't need to go into. But that's, again, more America. America, so American. Unnecessary wars are a very American thing. So we went, when we went to that unnecessary war in Afghanistan, we didn't want to, kill a bunch of people because that's bad press. So we hired groups of people and put together a pyramid shape thing, like one of the LLMs, the multi-level MLMs, multi-level marketing. We put together a multi-level marketing for killing. So we hired a group of people who hired a group of kids to murder our enemies. That's what we did. Lochinwall was 15 when we started having him murder his countrymen. He was murdering people in Afghanistan when he was 15. because that's profitable for us, because we wanted that to happen. He was vetted several times. He was our ally in Afghanistan. He killed our enemies when he was a teenager. Because, yes, America did employ child soldiers there, indirectly. We paid the groups, and the groups took care of the membership, which included 15-year-olds. So it's their fault. That's that group's fault, not ours. Not my fault, not your fault. No. It's not the president's fault. No. We hired a group to put together a bunch of mercenaries, and they hired a 15-year-old. This is their fault. It sounds like a child soldiers with burp. Extra steps, Morty. He fought America's enemies when he was too young to understand what he was doing. And he got good old-fashioned American PTSD because of it. And then he got a good old-fashioned American gun and lashed out violently at innocent people in the American way. That is the American way now. Violently lash out at innocent people. Because that's what we do here. We violently attack the wrong people. Might as well be written down in policy at this point. In response to this Afghan shooting soldiers in D.C., Donald Trump is calling for Somalians in Michigan to be violently removed from the country. They've got nothing to do with this. He's violently lashing out at the wrong people. Donald Trump has promised to violently lash out at this guy's family. Let's find that right there. Donald Trump says he's looking at deporting the wife and 5 kids of the National Guard shooting suspect. Violently throwing them out of the country, even though they're innocent. That is what we do in America now. We violently lash out at the wrong people. If Trump's economic numbers start to look bad, we violently attack Venezuelan boats. Billionaires bought all the companies, all the land, all the resources, and all of Congress. Violently throw out all of our immigrants. Jobless numbers are rising because the stock market got manipulated. Violently attack homeless people. Don't like that your employer made you wear a mask during a pandemic? Violently attack the kiosk at Target that sells the masks. Don't like the secret attraction that you feel to people of the same gender? Violently attack gay people at random. A couple of really tall towers in New York get destroyed by Afghanis funded by Saudis. Violently bomb Iraq. Some ruling class people in Vietnam want to try out communism, violently attack their citizens. This is what we do in America now. And the MAGA faithful yearn for this. God, they love it. They cry out for their Republican leaders. Please, please hurt someone so that we can feel better. Because they have no ethics. The Republicans will lie to you about the reason you're having a problem and violently attack whatever they want. And I'm talking a lot of shit about America right now. I know that, but it is not because I hate it. I want it to be better than this. I want intelligent leaders who have basic knowledge and don't lash out wildly at innocent people when things get tough. And we have very few of those people in charge right now. Everyone on the political right blames any problem on the people that they hate. That's it. It's their entire methodology. There's a problem? Okay, find someone that we hate and blame them. Doesn't have to be true. It doesn't have to be connected. Afghanistan guy shoots a couple of National Guardsmen, blame the Somalis and kick them out of the country. And the majority of the Dems only say and do things that get them paid. They don't take any stands that might upset the donors. They don't push for what's right because the stock market might dip 1%. They don't say anything controversial or else Wall Street might make them a target. In America, we do not have a left-wing alternative, and that is why everything seems to be getting worse right now. Everything is escalating towards fascism because the political side that's supposed to fight against fascism has been demonized by the right wing, shut down by the center, and outspent by the capitalists. So there's no arguing, there's no moving away from it. We are slowly walking towards it. Let's keep reading. What else we got? Trump yesterday also ordered additional troops into D.C. so more of them can get shot, on the theory that more troops will always better for the fewer ones, even though a federal judge has ruled last week that the entire deployment would have to be halted because it's probably illegal. More troops is not the answer. The National Guard has been deployed as part of the White House's political attacks on cities run by Democrats. And that is the reason he's got them there. These cities where everyone hates him have done the worst sin that anyone in America can commit, hating Donald Trump. If you hate him, you are now illegal, you see. It does not benefit him. If you hate him, that means you are illegal. Because the worst sin you can commit now is disliking Trump. You say things about him that are true and derogatory. That is now a crime because it doesn't benefit him. So the cities from where all the people live vote against him. They have to be punished. They have to be harmed. They have to be forced into line, forced into subjugation by him and his troops. But they're not doing that because he hasn't given them the order yet. They're just there as tripwire troops. They're there to be shot at. I'm sorry, National Guardsmen. You are doing exactly what Donald Trump wants you to do. The two National Guard people, they got shot. That's why he put you there, so that you could get shot. You shouldn't be happy about that. I'm very unhappy about that. Everybody should be unhappy about that. He put you there to be shot. He put you there to be shot. Intentionally, willingly. He wants people to do violence at you so that he can blame the Somalis and deport them, so that he can blame the Canadians and invade them, so that he can blame Afghanistan and deport all of the brown people, whether they're from Afghanistan or not. He put you there to be harmed. Even if the deployment to D.C. were legal, they lack a clear mandate and metric of success. We have vague rules of engagement and ill-defined operating procedures. And morale is low among part-time volunteer soldiers who have had to leave home to patrol streets of an American city that Trump doesn't like. Trump uses of the military began as so-called public safety emergency, though crime was already down in D.C. before the deployment. The D.C. National Guard falls under the command of the federal government, unlike the state's National Guard, so the district was easy to choice for Trump's first target. Governors from red states gladly volunteered their troops for the mission, although the Pentagon was struggling to find one. It began to publish information regarding the troops' trash cleanup and landscaping successes, calling the initiative Task Force Beautification. Uniformed troops patrolled streets in high visibility efforts, fully decked out, though any visitor to D.C. could see that they were just waiting around. They're not doing anything because they aren't law enforcement. They're not supposed to be law enforcement. They're not supposed to be used for law enforcement. They are there to be harmed. And it's not going to get any better, because this is what he says in response to them being harmed. Let's find out what he actually says. A very happy Thanksgiving salutation to all our great American citizens, patriots, who have been so nice at allowing our country to be divided, disrupted, carved up, murdered, beaten, mugged, and laughed at, along with certain other foolish countries throughout the world. Crime is down, by the way. Crime is down. Before he put the troops in place. He's a liar. Politically correct and just plain stupid when it comes to immigration. We're great on immigration. We're fine. You're imagining. You're making up the problems. The official United States foreign population stands at 53 million people, most of which are on welfare. 53 million people, most of which are on welfare. From failed nations. I bet that's a lie. I don't know the number specifically off the top of my head, but I'm willing to bet it's a lie. I mean, 90% of the people on welfare are disabled or children. So he's probably lying. From failed nations or from prisons, mental institutions, no evidence that they're from prisons or mental institutions. No evidence that they're in gangs. No evidence that the most of these people are in drug cartels. He's fucking lying. They and their children are supported through massive payments from patriotic American citizens who, because of their beautiful hearts, do not want to openly complain or cause trouble in any way, shape, or form. Lie. These people are not being paid through massive payments. That's not fucking true. Christ almighty. They put up with what has happened in our country, but it's eating them alive to do so. No, it's not. A migrant earning $30,000 with a green card will get roughly $50,000 in yearly benefits for the family. I don't believe that's true. I'll look into it, but I don't think it's correct. The man lies so goddamn often. The real migrant population is much higher. The refugee burden is leading cause of social dysfunction in America. No, it's fucking not, dude. Wealth disparity is the cause of our problems. The billionaires are not giving them, the money is not trickling back down. Trickle down is a lie. The money goes up and it doesn't come back down. And when it does, they've wrangled all of the institutions. Every single thing is now monetary. Capitalism is killing us. But instead of fixing that, he's blaming innocent people. Capitalism, again, capitalism is harming us. It is the problem. And they blame the poor, innocent people. Refugee burden is leading cause of social dysfunction, something that did not exist after World War II. What the fuck? Failed schools, high crime, urban decay, overcrowded hospitals, housing shortages, and large deficits. Failed schools because the capitalists want them to fail so that they can charge you for school. High crime because people can't. Crime is down, and even if there is crime, it's because people don't have enough money for the stuff they need. Urban decay is because no one wants to pay for the upkeep. And real estate's a giant fucking capitalist scam. Overcrowded hospitals because the people don't have the money. Housing shortages. People don't have the money. Large deficits because people don't have the money. Capitalism is the source of all of these problems. As an example, hundreds of thousands of refugees from Somalia are completely taking over a once great state of Minnesota. Somalian gangs are roving the streets looking for prey as our wonderful people stay locked in their apartments and houses, hoping against hope that they will be left alone. Absolute fucking lie. None of that is happening. The serious R word, governor of Minnesota, I'm not allowed to say it on Twitch, Tim Walz, does nothing either through fear, incompetence, or both, while the worst congressman woman in our country, Ilhan Omar, always wrapped in her swaddling hijab. Just straight fucking racism from the President of the United States, directed at a sitting U.S. representative, who probably came to the USA illegally. She didn't. You are not allowed to marry your brother. She didn't. Does nothing but hatefully complain about our country. Because you're in charge, Donnie. I complain a lot about the country because you're ruining it. I wish it were better. I wish you weren't such a fucking hateful bigot. Okay? I wish you weren't giving out the orders. You're a hateful piece of shit who lies constantly. That makes me upset with and complain about the government all the time. It makes me complain about the country that I don't want to do. Even as we have progressed technologically, immigration policy has eroded those gains in living conditions for many. No, it hasn't. I will permanently pause migration from all third world countries to allow the U.S. system to fully recover, terminate all of the millions of Biden illegal admissions. If he admitted them, it wasn't illegal. Donnie, if Biden says you got to be here, it's not illegal because they put the paperwork together and allowed it. You don't like it and it doesn't benefit you. Point to the chart again. Donald Trump. Sorry. If Joe Biden says you are allowed to be here, he passes the law, he passes the paperwork, and he gets it signed. That doesn't benefit Trump. So it's illegal. The legal things that Biden did don't benefit him. That makes them illegal. Doesn't matter if he signed them appropriately. Doesn't matter if it passed through the judges. Doesn't matter if it passed through the House and the Senate. It doesn't benefit Donald Trump. That makes it illegal. Not legal. He doesn't use this word properly. He doesn't use the word legal and illegal the way you and I do. He doesn't use it the way judges do. He doesn't use it the way lawyers do. He uses it for things he likes and doesn't like. If he doesn't like it, it's illegal. If he does like it, it is legal. Doesn't matter what the law says. And he continues, including those signed by Sleepy Joe's auto pen, and remove anyone who is not a net asset. Net asset. Christ almighty, can you get any more fucking fascist than net asset? Yes, he can. He will in just a moment. Trick question. Net asset to the United States, meaning you have to be providing something. You don't have any human rights. You don't have any sort of worth to us unless we are exploiting you for capitalist gain, baby. If you are taking in more than you're pumping out, you're not a net asset. That could be said of most red states. The state of Mississippi takes more than it pumps out. Are they not a net asset? I don't think they are. We should expel Mississippi, sell it to Canada. But that is what he's saying here. Immigrants who aren't pumping out more than they're taking in do not have any rights. They don't have any humanity. They are not net assets. Hence, they must be removed. So where do we leave off? Or is incapable of loving our country. Incapable of loving our country. Christ almighty. That means agreeing with Donald on everything. When Donnie says, love our country, that means love him. Donald Trump is the country. Donald Trump is the president. Donald Trump is America. And if you don't like Donald Trump, then you hate America. And he's broken, poisoned, fucking demented brain. And in the brain of most conservatives. If you don't like Donald Trump, you hate America. Madness. They're out of their goddamn minds. This man is delusional, living constantly in psychosis. And there's nothing we can do about it yet. And he's only going to get worse over the next year. End all federal benefits and subsidies to non-citizens of our country. Denaturalize migrants who undermine domestic tranquility. Denaturalize migrants who undermine domestic tranquility. That means saying mean things about Donald Trump. If you are a migrant who says a mean thing about Donald Trump because he harmed you physically, militarily, and economically, and you complain about it, you are undermining domestic tranquility, and you do not have the right to that speech, says the President of the United States. And deport any foreign national who is a public charge, security risk, or non-compatible with Western civilization. This means all Muslims. All Muslims will become deemed non-compatible with Western civilization. They will be thrown out because of their religion. They will not get First Amendment protections because Donald Trump doesn't feel like they deserve them. These goals will be pursued with the aim of achieving a major reduction in illegal and disruptive populations, including those admitted through an unauthorized and illegal auto pen approval process. It wasn't illegal, it wasn't unauthorized, and it was entirely fine. But again, we point to the chart. It doesn't benefit him. That makes it illegal. Only reverse migration can fully cure this situation. Other than that, happy Thanksgiving to all. Other than all of this fascism, have a happy Thanksgiving. Other than all of that fascism and authoritarianism and overreaching of a criminal, have a happy Thanksgiving. And he used the word reverse migration. Reverse migration is Nazi shit. It just is. It's fascism. Reverse migration is fascism. The people who do not have the correct bloodline do not get to stay on our soil. They must be removed, according to these people. And I keep telling you their position, and I keep saying because don't clip me on that one. It's straight up fascism, and this talks about it. So this thing, Trump is copying German Nazis. AfD is a German neo-Nazi party. They are. Even if you were born in Germany, it's not good enough for the AfD Nazis unless you have pure German blood. The blood and soil. This is why I keep telling you. Fascism is blood and soil. That's how you know. That's how you know if a thing is fascist. AfD calls their plan mass deportation. AfD calls their plan to mass deport all non-Aryans, reverse migration or remigration. This is where Trump got the phrase. He's copying German Nazis. Today. That's what their biggest, the AfD is a political organization in Germany. They are active today, and they are calling for reverse migration. Re-migration is fascism. Kick out all the people who do not have the correct blood. Do genetic tests. Just base it on vibes. First of all, vibe check anybody in America. Do they seem American? Do they have white skin, blonde hair, blue eyes? No? Well, okay. So you're subject immediately to maybe getting remigrated. Are they Muslim? Okay, you're out. You're fucking done. You're gone. You're out. He will kick you out for the choice or the religion that you have. He will kick you out. If you have the wrong skin color, he will kick you out. If you are a citizen but descend from certain people, certain bloodlines, do not belong here any longer. Doesn't matter that you're born here. Doesn't matter that you're a citizen. Doesn't matter that you've been here born in America 20 years ago. If you are a practicing Muslim today, they want you to be gone. They want you to be removed because your bloodline is wrong. You need to re-migrate to where you came from, where your ancestors came from. Get the fuck out. White nationalism is here. It's coming from the president. It's coming from everyone around him. Fascism is here. And depending on how much power they get, they will enact it. That's what you see ICE doing every day. And the right wing loves it. I don't know who fucking Matt Vespa is, but he thinks this is the greatest goddamn post of all time. He read this, fascism, and loved it. I went to a right-wing place to find out what they're thinking, and they fucking love it. They're all about it. I'm sure the left is going to melt down when they come around to reading President Trump's Thanksgiving message. I sure did. It's straight up fascism, Mr. Matt Vespa, you fucking fascist. Which was a cheeky swipe. Oh, was it just a cheeky swipe, you guys? It was just a cheeky swipe at the left and their failed policies. The failure is happening now. Matt Vespa, you fascist, specifically on immigration. To boot, he called Democrat Minnesota Governor Tim Walz seriously R-word for allowing his state to be essentially taken over by Somali illegals and their gangs. None of that is true. Matt Vespa, you're lying on the internet. Why would you go on the internet and lie? He also delivered a haymaker to Representative Ilhan Omar. No, he spit directly bigoted racism at her. For reasons that don't need explaining, because you can't explain it without being racist, Matt. Matt, you can't explain it without being super bigoted and super racist. You know her baggage. Again, you have to be in on the right-wing talking points to know her baggage. The president will also be pushing an end to all migration from third world nations. Which ones are third world nations? Whatever he feels like, whatever he vibe checks today. South Africa will be a third world nation if they're bringing black people. South Africa will not be a third world nation if they're bringing white people. That will be allowed. Okay. The third world nation is a vibe check because that's how fascists operate. Vibes. It's all they have. That's all they ever do is vibe check. This seems like a bad thing for white people. It feels icky, which means it's illegal. So you'll be a third world nation if you got brown people and Muslims coming across. You won't be a third world nation, or you'll be accepted or skipped if you're bringing white people. So this is awful and fascism, and the right wing loves it. This post comes after the brutal ambush of two National Guard members that occurred in Washington, D.C. on Thanksgiving Eve. One victim, Sarah Beckstrom, 20, died the next day. Her father has previously admitted no recovery was possible. Okay, so that's bad news. But they love it. The right is eating this shit up because they're hateful bigots. Anybody who isn't a hateful bigot abandoned MAGA. So MAGA is just filled with hateful bigots now, and they want blood and soil policies to be enacted. They want everyone of the incorrect bloodline to be removed from America. That is what they want. They are dying to get it. They are absolutely begging for Donald Trump to kick these people out of the country. Oh, hey, good news. The DHS is also on board. The stakes have never been higher. The goal has never been more clear. Re-migration now. The people in charge of the DHS are fascists. The people in charge of the DHS are pushing white nationalism. Re-migration is fascism, and they are calling for it. They want it to happen. I'm not even making it up. It's right here. Let's look at remigration. Let's look it up. Let's find out what it is. Remigration is a European far-right concept of ethnic cleansing. You know, there's a little bit of ethnic cleansing via mass deportation of non-white minority populations, especially populations of immigrants, and sometimes including those born in Europe and holding European citizenship. Even if you're born there, you still get thrown out because your bloodline is wrong, to a place of their racial ancestry. Originating in Europe, the concept has spread to the United States and other countries, and it is popular, especially among the identitarian movement. Some proponents of remigration suggest excluding some persons with non-European background from such a mass deportation, but on a varyingly defined degree. Vibes of assimilation into European culture. So if Kash Patel, the guy who kisses Donald Trump's ass every single day, but is blatantly of Pakistani descent, he's one of the good ones, so he might get to stay because he bends over and kisses Donald's ass on a regular basis. So he's American, you see. If he ever disagreed with Donald Trump, he would be deported because his bloodline is wrong. Vibes-based. All fascism is vibes-based. It always is. Advocates of remigration promote the concept of pursuit of ethno-cultural homogeneity. It's hard to say. Ethno-cultural homogeneity means only white people in America, only Russians in Russia, only South Africans in South Africa, Germany for German people, and nobody mixes. Nobody crosses a border. Nobody ever meets anybody from anywhere else. Only ethnics, people in this space. It's the soil. Only this bloodline on this soil. That is ethno-cultural homogeneity. It is a weakness, and it is impossible to do, and it is a fucking stupid idea, and it causes severe harm, and to implement it, you have to severely hurt lots and lots and lots and lots of people. According to this person, the concept that different ethnicities require their own segregated living spaces creates a need for remigration of people with foreign roots. A Mexican scholar, Jose Engel Maldonado, has described the idea of soft type of ethnic cleansing under the guise of deportation or segregation. And that's what they're saying here. Soft ethnic cleansing. That's what Donald Trump is calling for. The President of the United States has just asked for soft ethnic cleansing because he's a bad person who doesn't know what it means, doesn't know what will happen, and may not even have the power to do it. I know I've been dooming all day, but maybe Donald Trump and the DHS doesn't have the power to accomplish this. That's the only guiding light we have right now. That's the only light at the end of this tunnel. The people of America generally don't like ICE. Have you been watching the ICE videos lately that are posted up on the internet, but not on CNN and not on the big news networks, where the American people are yelling at them, telling them to get the fuck out? The American people in the suburbs are chasing them out, and they're blowing their big whistles anytime they see ICE agents around. The American people might not accept this. They don't like fascism. They don't like blood and soil when it's near them. The people in the middle of a cornfield in Nebraska do really like blood and soil for New York City. They love that. But they don't like it in their own backyard. They may not have the actual manpower for this. So that's good news. Let's read about MAGA maybe falling apart. This guy, Paul Waldman, thinks that MAGA is coming apart at the seams, and that's a good news. Turns out they're not in it for Trump, they're in it for themselves. The MAGA movement has always been defined by faith and loyalty, faith in Donald Trump and his power to remake the world, and loyalty towards him in all things, even when his words and actions might lead to some doubt. Now, however, their faith is being tested and their loyalty is wavering. In part, this is a rather simple story about failure and weakness. It's not hard to keep a movement together when it's succeeding. But when the ship begins to take on water, the crew starts to look for lifeboats to jump into. But even more fundamentally, the events of last week demonstrate that MAGA has always been more rickety craft than it appeared. And the rats, like Maytag here, Marjorie Taylor Greene, the rats start abandoning first. While the fishers have been building for months, last Friday was a particularly disorienting day for the MAGA faithful. That afternoon, Trump had an Oval Office meeting with Zohran Mamdani in which, rather than calling for New York mayor-elect a vile communist destined to destroy the city of Trump's birth, the president couldn't have been friendlier. And then Mayor Marjorie Taylor Greene flees, and that loyalty is not guaranteed. Never in modern times has a president enforced absolute loyalty the way Donald Trump does, not only by attempting to destroy the Republican who opposes him, but by demanding regular public displays of sycophancy, such as the North Korean-style cabinet meetings in which everyone competes to see who can offer the most effusive praise for Donald Trump's magnificence. A little clip.
Pam?
President, your first 100 days has far exceeded that of any other presidency in this country, ever. Never seen anything like it. Thank you.
This is what they do for 3 hours at a time. They jerk him off. For the most part, it worked. The atmosphere of fear surrounding Trump's cult of personality has kept Republicans from criticizing him even when they think he's wrong. But consider the list of issues on which notable Republican officeholders and influencers are now breaking with Trump, or at the very least fighting amongst themselves in the way to weaken his movement. So there may be... let's read some of these. After months of resisting the release of the Epstein files, Trump faced a revolt from his own party in Congress, where both houses voted nearly unanimously for a bill to release then he signed. Ideas he floated recently about 50-year mortgages have been shot down. Trump's apparent interest in invading Venezuela has caused a negative reaction from supporters who believed him when he said he wanted to break our history of foreign adventurism. So the people aren't happy with his going to war. While Republican legislators in many states saluted and followed his orders to redraw their congressional maps, Republicans in Indiana said no despite intense pressure. Trump has cheerleaded for unfettered development of artificial intelligence, but many on the right are wary of the technology. The right is currently being torn apart over the question of how friendly it should be to Nazis. While Trump's own position on this question is a bit muddled, his administration is teeming with white nationalists. Some Republicans are even worried that the backlash from the administration's nationwide campaign of mass thuggery, ICE agents, in response to the recent invasion of North Carolina, from PR and political standpoint, for the first time, immigration is maybe having a negative impact on my party, then MTG's displeasure and her leaving. The most immediate explanation for why all this dissension and displeasure is rolling at the surface is that Trump is extremely unpopular right now, especially on the economy, the issue every elected official rightly fears. So maybe he doesn't actually have the power and authority to accomplish the white nationalism that he wants to do, because he wants to do it. He wants it real bad, y'all. He really wants it. And the people around him really want it. And the MAGA faithful really want it too. And most of the Republicans really do want it to some extent. Maybe not to the extreme degree that the MAGA and the fascists and the Nazis want it, but they still want it. Maybe, if we're lucky, the people turn against him and don't allow it. It would take, just to get the illegal immigrants out, takes billions of dollars and millions of hours and maybe hundreds of thousands of people. They don't have that. ICE is knocking out a dozen people a day, almost none. They're bad at their job. And the judges, who still somewhat have some state power, they don't have any federal power, are preventing them from doing the worst things that they can, which is just throwing people out and sending them to Djibouti and locking them up in prison camps. Alligator Auschwitz, or Alcatraz, whatever you want to call it, is already failed. It didn't function. They couldn't get the people in there. It's put in place illegally, and the people who were there got released. A lot of them, because they're arresting just anybody they can find. The big fancy raid that they did in that big city where they had the helicopters and they made the really cool video, nobody got charged. They didn't find any gang members. They didn't find any criminals. And if we're lucky, that will continue. It's a puppy dog under my feet trying to play. I'll play with him in a minute because we're almost done here. Everything is bad and sucks right now. I know that. I get it. I did give you a lot of doom today. A very American doom. And that's the other thing that I want to talk about. Yeah, this is the America that the Republicans have brought to us. Violently lash out at someone who isn't responsible. That is the American way now. I'm very unhappy with that. But that's what the Republicans do. When the economy goes bad, violently hurt the homeless. When the war goes bad, violently hurt the leftists. When the stock market dips, violently hurt the poor. Doesn't make any sense, but that's what they do because they're bad. And you shouldn't respect them or appreciate them, and you should doubt every single goddamn word they say. Don't believe their words. Look for different interpretations, figure out what's going on, find out who's benefiting, and then think on this chart. Keep this in mind. Who's benefiting from the action that you're seeing? If you see something that seems weird, who's benefiting from it? Who's getting paid? Who's getting the benefit of this thing? They're usually the person in charge. They're usually the person who shouldn't be trusted. So what was I trying to get to? I was trying to get to the end here. Everything is bad. Everything sucks, but it might get better. The American people generally dislike what's going on right now. Most of the people are not happy with ICE. They're yelling at them, they're screaming at them, they're blowing whistles, they're chasing them around, they're videotaping all of the bad things that ICE is doing. That's good. Keep that up. Keep giving Pete Hegseth a bunch of shit. Everywhere he goes, he should be yelled at by protesters, by anti-war protesters. If you are MAGA, if you are a Republican, if you are center, and you don't like wars, you shouldn't like Pete Hegseth doing war crimes. You shouldn't like Donald Trump starting a war without Congress. If you are okay with Donald Trump starting this war, then you can't be anti-war. You can't claim him to have stopped 8 wars. Because that's the other thing that he's probably going to do. He's going to create a no-fly zone for a day, and then he's going to cancel the no-fly zone that he created and imagined himself and nobody enforced, and claim that he won the Venezuelan war. Because that's the next couple of weeks from now. We're going to hear about how he won single-handedly the Venezuelan war that he started and wasn't real and didn't happen. But he's going to claim that he won. So that's great. So that is what we need to watch out for. Pay attention. Stay alert. Don't let them trick you. Doubt all the things that they say. And tell your friends, tell your family, tell somebody that you talk to on a regular basis. The Afghan who shot those 2 troopers had PTSD from the war that we started in his country. Unnecessarily. We didn't need to go in there and do that. It was pointless. It was unnecessary. And we made him into a child soldier. And then he killed his countrymen. And then in as a reward, we brought him back to America so that he could live a good life. And his untreated PTSD, and I assume that's what it was, untreated PTSD, made him do a very American thing. Lash out at somebody who isn't responsible. Some random person who is innocent. He lashed out at them. And Donald Trump, in response to this random lashing out, is going to randomly lash out at Somalians who have nothing to do with this. Stop doing it. Stop randomly lashing out at the people you hate who have nothing to do with the problem you have. I have a very noisy dog. He bothers me during streams sometimes. He's very cute. But I'm upset with him for being noisy and bothering me while I'm trying to rant on the internet. So I'm going to go find a local coyote and kick it. Doesn't make any sense, does it? That's it for me today. I appreciate everybody who's here. Thank you for coming in. Thanks for being here, Fowler. Thanks for coming in, Shinseto. I'll turn this into one long YouTube video because my long ones seem to work better. So go on over to YouTube if you missed any bit of this, or if you want to watch this in a better format where you get to pause it, and it has I edit out all the awkwardness and all the bad stuff and all the uhs and the ums and stuff like that. So going over to YouTube, watch the stuff there. Click the thumbs up, click the subscribe button, and spread some hatred in the comments, because YouTube's algorithm is powered by hatred. So the more you hate me, the more you hate Donald Trump, the more you hate anything in YouTube, the more I benefit from it. So, does it benefit Waldo? Yes. It's but does Waldo benefit Trump? No. So I might be illegal. So I appreciate you watching this illegal stream, watching all my illegal videos. I will be back on Wednesday night, 7 o'clock PST, West Coast time, unless the Gestapo kicks on my door and drags me off to the gulag.